Hello, everyone. This webinar will focus on the Project Atlas application. So let's begin. So in this webinar, we're going to focus on reviewing the grant guidelines and accessing the applications on Sage live. So you'll get a sense of how to navigate Sage, and you can follow along as well. To download the application and accessing supporting documents, you're going to need to go to nj.gov/state/ofbi.shtml, or you can do what I do. It's Google New Jersey Office of Faith-Based Initiatives and click the home button, and it'll take you to the home page where you would scroll down to Spotlight and click Grant Opportunities. Make sure to download the grant guidelines and follow along with this webinar because you're going to need the grant guidelines because Sage doesn't, you're going to need the grant guidelines. Without the grant guidelines, you're not going to be able to submit a competitive application. The Sage website is www.sage.nj.gov. That's www.sage.nj.gov. And to access Sage, you need to use either Internet Explorer, Microsoft Edge, or Firefox. Do not use Google Chrome. Google Chrome is not compatible to the Sage platform. So if you use Google Chrome and you go in there and you're completing the application and you submit it, when we get it, it's going to be a blank application. So do not use Google Chrome. Remember to always hit the save button in Sage. Sage does not have an automatic save feature. Again, let me repeat that. Remember to always hit the save button in Sage. Sage doesn't have an automatic save feature. If you have any questions, you can call the office at 609-984-6952. 609-984-6952. The quickest way to get a response is to email us at ofbi@sos.nj.gov. Excuse me, ofbi@sos.nj.gov. So let's go. We're going to go live. So make sure you downloaded the grant guidelines and follow along. Okay, just give me a second. Let me go live. Oh no, first thing I want to do is, all right. When you access the OFBI page, web page, you come down, click Grant Opportunities, and you come to the Grant Opportunities page. So we're working on Project Atlas. So any organization that received a grant under Project Atlas in FY20 or FY21 cannot apply for FY22. So if you received a grant last year or the year before last, you can't apply for Project Atlas under FY22. All right, you can apply for anything else, but not Project Atlas. So when you come down here and you click Project Atlas, this is the grant guidelines, right? And so, you know, the purpose of Project Atlas is a capacity building grant, and it's really focusing on enhancing the infrastructure, the internal mechanisms of an organization. The grant request cannot exceed $10,000 as stated here. Applications are due May 21st, 2021 at 4:59 p.m. Again, if you applied for and received a grant in FY20 and FY21 under Project Atlas, you cannot apply for Project Atlas FY22. The webinars, there's a series of training webinars that are on the website. You can click this link that will take you to the homepage where you click Grant Opportunities, and then you'll scroll down and you click Technical Assistance Webinars, and it'll take you to this site here where you'll have all this information here for you. Do it and watch these webinars in order from top to bottom, okay? There's also going to be a series of Project Atlas Q&A sessions that are going to happen for each application. So when you get to this page and you click this link, it'll bring you to this page here. On March 16th, it'll be Project Atlas, Social Enterprise on March 17th, Social Innovation on the 19th, and Special Projects on the 23rd. And these are their respective links. All right. All right. So let's go back to the application. In order to, all applicant organizations must meet all requirements for eligibility. You must establish a Project Atlas leadership team. A leadership team is comprised of 3 to 5 volunteers. They can be your existing board members, or if the organization does not have a board of directors, the leadership team can be what is developed into the organization's advisory board, okay? Assure that the team members attend required technical assistance sessions, conferences, and workshops, and we'll talk about that a little later. You'll have to work with the OFBI identified coach to support to develop an individualized organization sustainability assessment. You're going to have to spend the grant award resources to achieve targeted sustainability outcomes and implement the pilot project relative to the needs of the community. We'll talk about that. And you're going to have to dedicate the time and effort needed to work effectively under this initiative. If you apply for Project Atlas, you can't apply for any other funding opportunity. Because if you're applying for Project Atlas, you are lacking the capacity needed to be able to implement a project under the other funding category. So when you're applying to Project Atlas, you cannot apply for social innovation, any special project categories, and or seed, all right? Ineligible applicants are houses of worship. The OFBI doesn't fund religious institutions. We don't fund churches, mosques, temples, synagogues. We never have since its inception, and we're not going to move forward in that direction. So we don't fund houses of worship. Eligibility criteria: applicants must be a nonprofit, faith and or community-based organization serving low-income residents. Now, when I say faith and or community-based, what I mean by faith are nonprofits that are created, by a religious institution in order to gain access to grants from state, county, or municipal government. Okay. The organization's budget must be between $0 and $100,000. That's your agency-wide budget, not your program budget, but your agency-wide budget must be between $0 and $100,000. If your agency-wide budget is above $100,000, you cannot apply for Project Atlas. This is really targeting young emerging organizations that lack the experience of working with a funding source. Applicants must be tax exempt, and they must have their 501c3 determination letter from the IRS. And the determination letter must state that the organization is created to provide implement charitable causes. If the 501c3 IRS determination letter says that the organization is created to provide religious instruction or religious teachings, then you're ineligible to apply, because that means that you are a religious organization and we don't fund houses of worships. Applicants must be registered with the New Jersey Division of Consumer Affairs and have a valid charity registration number and be in compliance. You must be registered with the New Jersey Department of Treasury, Division of Revenue, and must be in compliance, must be in good standing with the Department of Treasury. You must upload a certificate of incorporation, not a certificate of standing, but a certificate of incorporation. You must have been in existence for at least 1 year, right? And you must be willing to actively participate in mandatory training and technical assistance. Now, capacity building may be defined as your organization's ability to identify and prioritize its development goals and achieve specific improvements that help you more effectively fulfill your mission, right? And that's what this is about. This is a capacity building grant. Like, you're saying to yourself, man, we got to develop a board, we got to develop a volunteer system, we don't have stuff in place, but you're doing good work in the community, but your structure is lacking. So this grant helps you put that together. And sustainability results from the ongoing capacity building, and it's within the organization. So Project Atlas will establish a high-performing work team, which is your leadership team that I explained earlier. And that's going to be key So if your leadership team is not willing to, abide by the training and TA, and all the contact with your coaches are going to be in the evening, because we understand that, folks have regular 9-to-5s. Now, specific examples of Project Atlas capacity building and sustainability activities might be developing effective boards and board governance processes, build the skills and stewardship abilities of executive leaders, developing and implementing long-term strategic plans, enhancing technological capacity, building partnerships and collaboration with other community organizations, and or learning how to evaluate, document, and improve the outcomes and impact of your services. Eligibility, budget expenses, eligible expenses for grantees will be aligned with the developmental needs of the organization, as guided by the sustainability assessment, which we're going to talk about in a few minutes, right? So if you're looking for leadership stuff and you want to, and you think that you need leadership training, then these are these subtopics that you can write about in your application that you're thinking that you need based on your readiness assessment. If you're looking for organizational development, these are some of the examples of organizational development topics that you can, explain in your application. If you think you're needing program development, then these are the subtopics that you may want to highlight in your application on the program development. And if you're thinking that your organization needs a better community engagement, then these are the subtopics. Now, you don't have to use all these subtopics. You can pick, and you don't have to use any of these major headers, right? You can say, okay, I think we need leadership, and I think we need a program development. And out of leadership and out of leadership, what are the 1 or 2 or 3 top subtopics? And under program development, what are the 2 or 3 top subtopics? And then you talk about that in your application. Now, the readiness assessment, it's real easy, right? So let me show you what the readiness assessment looks like. So this is the readiness assessment. It's you and your leadership team get together. This is all fillable, right? You can do it online, you save, you got to upload it. And there are a series of, I think it's 11 questions. And you simply, it's asking you in the first one, are you going to establish a leadership team that will spend approximately 20 hours working with a capacity building coach? Not 20 hours a week and not 20 hours a month, but 20 hours over the course of the year, right? And if you're not ready, indicate why you're not ready. And then this is a Likert scale that says you're ready all the way to 5, I'm ready, and 1, you're not ready, or 2 or 3. If you choose 1, 2, or 3, then in here you need to explain, what is it that you need to be ready in order to work with your coach. And so all the questions are kind of sort of a self-assessment. Assure that members of your leadership team attend all required meetings, training, and conferences. Like I said, they're going to be in the evenings. So most and really flexible with you. So, if it's a 5, you're ready, then click 5 and there's no issue here. So those are the types of questions that you need to answer, and they're pretty self-explanatory. All right. That's the readiness assessment. So the application is really, you're going to get a grant to submit a pilot project, but the guts of the application is really to make sure that you understand what capacity building is, how it can, the needs that your organization needs in capacity building, and how those capacity building issues that are identified, if rectified, will affect the day-to-day operations of the organizations on a positive trajectory, right? So you need to demonstrate a thorough understanding of Project Atlas in your application, respond to all requirements detailed in the description criteria, and present a complete and consistent response. That's all we're asking for. Now, the funding period is from July 1, 2021 to June 30th, 2022. Now, listen, don't worry about when the report to due. Let's get you awarded first, and then we can talk about that. Now, in order to receive a grant for Project Atlas, your score applicants that score 60 or lower, well, it should really, 60 or lower, or it should really say applicants that score below 60 will not be considered for funding, and we're going to have to fix that. Applicants that score below 60 points will not be considered for funding. All right. So this is the application requirements. Each section in Sage will correspond with each section here. The project summary is 4,000 characters, and we're simply asking you in this section to explain the mission history and how many years your organizations have been providing community social services. Assure that all clients receiving services are low income and explain how you will verify their low income status. Indicate the number of years, number of people served, and type of services provided. Clearly explain your understanding of the Project Atlas grant. The description must indicate the readiness to participate and commitment to strengthen your organization's sustainability and capacity. I mean, and then you have the scoring matrix over here. Organizational capacity, 4,000 characters. In this section, we want you to answer these 2 bullets. Provide a brief overview of your organization's capacity needs. Provide a description of the makeup of the board of directors and or your leadership team. Provide a description of the executive staff, volunteers. Who are they? What are their roles relative to the provision of services? And then the readiness assessment that I just showed you right here, right? We're asking you to upload this document completed into Sage, right? Then it's the statement of need. It's 4,000 characters. And in that section, we want you to answer these 3 bullets. After reviewing the results of your readiness assessment, after you completed the readiness assessment and you looked at it and you say, okay, I guess we get it. Briefly summarize your organization's needs to strengthen long-term sustainability and build capacity to serve the community, right? List the members of your proposed Project Atlas leadership team, including their names, official titles, and their relationship to the organization. And briefly summarize each team member's number of years and nature of experience and the assets that they bring to your team. Like, what are the skill sets that they're bringing to your team? Statement of collaboration. Now, we're not asking you to upload 3 letters of support because it's COVID. I mean, it's going to be hard getting that stuff. So in this section, you're going to have an opportunity to summarize and identify who are your 3 collaborating partners. That's it, right? And we're going to show you when we go live. Project design, right? In this section, we're asking you to describe the training and technical assistance that the organization has identified to benefit from the Project Atlas program. So we're asking you, well, what type of training do you think you need? Because we want to make sure that you understand what you're getting into, right? Capacity building and project goals. Now, this is a section where we get to find out what are your capacity building goals and what are the goals for your pilot project. Present a preliminary list of capacity building goals that may be included in your sustainability work plan. And the sustainability work plan is not something you do in this application. That's something that you do with your coach. So don't worry about having to figure out what a sustainability work plan is, but at least you want to jot down some capacity building goals that you and your coach are going to talk about in your application. Identify your priorities for capacity building and why they are important, and indicate the specific impact your organization will have on the community after participating in Project Atlas, right? Evaluation. Indicate how you will measure whether and to what extent your organizational and program goals have been achieved. Like, how are you going to measure success? If we do this, if we accomplish this, and that's going to be considered success. The budget. Here's the budget, right? Complete all budget forms in Sage, which we're going to show you. You can use up to $2,000 of the grant to purchase technology, laptops for your staff, Wi-Fi connectivity, whatever you can get, whatever you need. You don't have to use $2,000, but you can use up to $2,000. You can use up to $1,500 of the grant funds can be used for administrative costs. Administrative costs are those costs that are not yet realized, right? So it gives you some flexibility. And you have to put at least $1,000 of the grant. Now this one's a mandatory. At least you got to budget $1,000 for staff development because you're going to need it. If you're in Project Atlas, you're going to need staff development and staff development options like executive director leadership stuff, grant writing workshops, and stuff like that. And up to 85% of the grant awards can be used for personnel, meaning that, if you're going to implement the pilot project, that you can use 85% of the award to make sure that you're able to do that, right? In personnel and hiring folks or keeping folks on board. Now, remember, it's $10,000. So 85% of $10,000 is what, $6,500, something like that. So it's not like it's a whole lot of money. Required appendices. The board resolution, which is this document here, right? The board resolution, you need to upload that. Oops. You need to upload that under required appendices. Your readiness assessment that we've been talking about, this right here, Project Atlas Readiness Assessment. You want to upload that into required appendices. And your most recent IRS 990. Your most recent. So it's 2021. So probably your most recent 990 should be 2020, right? So you need to upload that. And then the stuff down here is just regular old language that talks about that non-discrimination, a recognition of cultural sensitivity, reporting requirements, training, and the like. All right. So now we're going to go to we're going to go to Sage. Is this the one? No. Let me go to the right Sage. Okay. All right. So once you register, once you registered into Sage, and the webinars on how to register into Sage, if you never applied to Blue Sage, or it's in the webinar section that I showed you where to look for that earlier in this presentation. Once you get the email saying, okay, you're registered for Sage and you want to create your application, this is our demo site. So this is going to be fictitious, but it's the same steps that you take on a live site. So you want to put your username and password and log in. And Sage is a little temperamental. Sometimes it takes a minute to get to the place. Now, when you log in, your My Task page is not going to look busy like this, right? The only reason it looks busy like this is because this is a demo site, and all the divisions in the Department of State that do grant test their applications here. But the first thing we want you to do is, after you get in here, and after you've uploaded, the necessary documents in the step 1 webinar, organizational information, the next thing we want you to do is scroll down to view available opportunities and click view opportunities. Then we want you to open up the drop-down box under provider and scroll down to NJ-Sage_DOS for Department of State. And then in the document instance, we want you to just write, because we're working on Project Atlas, we want you to write Project Atlas. Okay. And then we want you to click filter. And so now all the project, so then you need to scroll down, or it should just pop up at the top. But if it doesn't, and you got to search for it, you want to search for Project Atlas 2022. Here it goes, OFBI Project Atlas 2022. So we're going to use Servicios Latino. That's Servicios Latino. Angela, I love her. She's our test organization on Sage, right? So it's Project Atlas 2022. You click apply now. And then this is the agreement page. This is Department of State General Funding Guidelines. And then this is going to be another place where you can get the grant guidelines. You click I agree. And then you're brought to the grant page, right? The application page, right? So the application status, the application is in process. So what you want to do is, and you got to follow these steps, right? So you want to go to forms and you want to go to profile information page. Click profile information page. So when you get to the profile information page, you're going to see all this emptiness here, right? So what we're asking you to do, the first thing we want you to do is write in, the organization contact name. So I'm a Jet fan, right? So, oh my goodness, I'm a Jet fan. Oh, I forgot my man's name. So anyway, one of our staff somebody on our staff is a Brad Pitt fan. It's not me, but it's already in there. And then you write the title, ED, right? This is all fictitious. Then you come down to the bottom and click this checkbox. Now, if you did the step 1 organizational information, if you watched the step 1 organizational information page webinar and uploaded all your documents, right? When you click save, all that information that you put on that organizational additional profile information page for the step 1 organizational information will automatically populate. So you want to click save, and you just got to wait, because it's gonna take a minute for all that information to populate. Remember, because it's empty, so it's got to take it from one part of the Sage platform and populate it here. So now it's populated some stuff, right? Because this other stuff was empty. If you see this this orange hand saying, hey, there's some issues, before you panic, click save again. Because sometimes it takes 2 attempts to populate everything over and for Sage to understand that everything has been populated over. All right, so now you'll see the green light that says, okay, all the information has been saved. Everything is beautiful here, right? And then you hover over forms and you come down a selection of grant categories. This is for Project Atlas. And so you wanna, you wanna call whatever your Project Atlas is. Just for test purposes, I'm just gonna put test, and on the grant categories, you open up the drop-down box, click Project Atlas, and click save. All right, so now that you've clicked save and you got this green light that says, hey, everything has been saved, you go over forms, and you can go in order or you can go out of order, right? I like to go in order because it just makes a lot of sense to me. But once you understand where you're at, then you can go in the order you want, right? So you click organization contact information. And then you scroll down, and then you have to fill anything out with an asterisk. Now, this stuff up here, you can't fill out. Once you hit save, it'll automatically populate. But in the text boxes down here, anything with an asterisk, you have to fill out. So we're gonna fill it out. So let's go with Mr. Curtis Martin is my jet guy, right? He's a Hall of Famer, right? And the organization's name is New York Jets, and it's 123 Jets Way, right? East Rutherford, New Jersey. That's the that's the telephone number. You don't have to put a fax number because there's no asterisk there. You have to put an email there. If you have a website, you can put it in there, but it's not mandatory because there's no asterisks here. You got to insert the project director. So let's go with Ms. Now let's go with Miss J-Lo, right? Let's go with Jennifer. Jennifer. What is her last name? Man, that's amazing, right? J-Lo, but what's the last? Anyway, so it's she and my man are down there in Miami. Let's say 123 J.A. Rod Road, right? Let's put down here Miami, right? The state is Florida, right? And the zip code is, I have no idea, 091, right? And the telephone number, you just 123 123 1234. You don't need the fax number, and the email is, let's say, test at whatever that is .com, right? And then for the chief financial officer, you want to put maybe Ms. Mo Money, right? And the telephone number can be, whatever it is you need to put in. You don't have to put a fax. And I don't even know why we have fax in there, because who faxes? Anyway, I'm going on a tangent. And then the email is, got to put an email. And then the agency-wide budget needs to be between $0 and $100,000. So let's put $100,000 in here. You scroll up to the top and you click save. All right, so everything's been saved because this green light thing came up here. So you hover over forms and you go to project summary. So this is why you need to have the grant guidelines, because you just can't be coming off the dome and filling this out off of because what you think a project summary is. So and if you go to the grant guidelines under application requirements, the first section is project summary, and it's asking you here, explain the mission, history of the organization, how many clients have you provided service to that were low income, indicate the number of years and the number of people that you served, and clearly explain your understanding of the Project Atlas grant. So all that goes in here, right? So for test purposes, I'm just putting test. Now, here's the deal. You can click save and then go hover over forms and go to the next page, or you can click save next, which will save this page and take you to the next page. So we're gonna do a combination of save next, and hovering, right? All right, so now we're in organization capacity. So with the grant guidelines, it says for this section, it says provide a brief overview of the organization's capacity needs, and this is what this is what you put in here, because we want to make sure that you understand what this grant is all about, and provide a description of the executive staff, the volunteers, and their roles, right? But for our purposes, I'm going to put test, and then I'm going to click save. And this time I'm going to hover over forms menu to go to the next, page, right? So on the grant guidelines, the next thing, it's readiness assessment. So when you hover over forms, you're not seeing anything here that says readiness assessment, because this is a document that you're going to have to download from the OFBI website and complete it like I showed you earlier, right? So you'll complete the readiness assessment like it says on the grant guidelines, and you'll upload it under required appendices. So where's required appendices? Here is required appendices right here, all right? So that's where you got to upload the readiness assessment, as well as the board resolution, as well as the 990, your most current 990. So let's continue moving forward. So we're going to go to statement of need. Now, I need you to pay attention really closely at the statement of need, because you're going to have to upload 3 statements of needs. Oh, no, my bad. So the statement of need is identify statement of need, yeah. After reviewing the results of the readiness assessment that you did and I talked about earlier in this webinar, then based on that, briefly summarize your organization's need to strengthen its long-term sustainability. All of that information goes in here. The next bullet talks about list the members of your proposed project leadership team with their names, official titles, and relationship to the organization, and briefly summarize each team member's number of years and the assets that they bring to the table for your organization, right? So for test purposes, I'm just gonna go test, and I'm going to hit save next. You can fill it out, hit save, and then hover over forms menu. Whatever way you want to navigate this process. So now it takes you statement of collaboration. Now, this is the part that you have to really listen up to, because you got to do this 3 times. So in the statement of collaboration, identify 3 collaborating partners, and I'm reading directly from the grant guidelines for this section. Identify 3 collaborating partners that help enhance the organization's infrastructure to move its mission and vision forward, right? So we're going to say, okay, the first organization is Test One, and then you're going to summarize what Test One's role, how are they going to partner with you, how are they going to work with you, and then you click save. Don't click save next, click save. This is the only page where you can't click save next, because you have to do this 2 more times after this one. So now you have to do 2 more, right? So what you want to do is scroll up to the top and click add. And by clicking add, it wipes this information out, and it gives you page number 2. So you will put organization 2 there. You will summarize what organization's 2 role is with your organization. And then you would come up to the top and click save. Right, and then you come up to the top, and you got the green thing, the green light that said, okay, it's been saved. You click add 1 more time. It'll wipe this out, and then you put in the 3rd organization, and you put in test. I'm putting in test. I'm not going to actually write something, and you click save. Come to the top, and you click save. After that's done, you'll see this drop-down box here where you'll be able to see test 1, organization 1, test 2, organization 2, or test 3, organization 3. After you see that, then you can go to hover over forms and click project description. When you get to project description on the grant guidelines, it'll read what's here, project design, right? And in the grant guidelines, it's asking you in this section, describe the training and technical assistance that the organization has identified to benefit from the Project Atlas grant. That's what you do there, right? I'm just putting in test because I'm not going to write all that. For the next thing on the grant guidelines, which aligns with this, is target population. Describe the population that the organization provides services to, their gender, income, and educational status, right? But I'm going to write test here. Project goals. Present preliminary list of capacity building goals that may be included in your sustainability work plan, right? Once you start working with your coach, identify your priorities for capacity building and indicate the specific impact your organization will have on the community after you're participating in Project Atlas. So I'm gonna put test there. And this is also where you can indicate what might be your project goal. In fact, you should indicate in here in the project goals, also include what your pilot project goals might be, all right? And in the evaluation section, you wanna look at the grant guidelines because it's asking you, indicate how you will measure whether and to what extent your organization and program goals have been achieved. Then you can scroll up to the top, click Save Next. It'll save it and it'll take you to the next page. All right, let me see. All right, and so it'll take you to personnel, right? So in the grant guidelines, it says that all budget forms need to be completed, and then up to 85% of the grant award can be used for salaries, right? So that means that you can use up to $8,500 of your grant. So let's say you got youth director, right? That's the title. And the staff name is, hold on. The staff name is, no, not saying that. The staff's name is like Who Me. And the salary they making is like $25,000. Because I used to work in nonprofits. I know you guys still pay low like that. Standard weekly hours of work, let's say it's 35 hours. And how many hours are they going to work on this job? Let's say they're going to work, I don't know, on this grant, let's say 10 hours a week. And out of this grant, you're going to charge the grant the full 85%, right? Now here, this is the fringe part, right? If you're gonna add fringe, then you add it here. If you're gonna put people that don't have fringe, if you're not gonna put fringe, you can just do what I'm doing, right? You could just put zeros, right? Or if you're gonna add fringe to the 85, this is where you do that up here, all right? But if you're not gonna add fringe, then just put zeros up here. Then you come up to the top and you click Save. All right, so there's a negative here, right? There's a negative here. So what that's telling me is that I need to up the hours. We can't have any negatives. This is saying that you don't have enough in funds from other sources. So let's say that let's bump this up to 15 hours. Because you got to get rid of that negative there. It's gonna hurt you in the long run. Go up to the top, click Save. Perfect, right? Perfect. So the youth director, whose name is Who Me, another hat I gotta wear, that makes 25,000, works 35 hours a week. He or she is gonna work 15 hours a week on this particular project, Project Atlas. You're going to charge the grant $8,500. And now these funds from other sources. So the total for me to work the 15 hours a week is $10,714. You're saying that you're putting in $8,500 from the grant. Sage automatically assumes that the other $2,214 are coming from other funding sources. This is just the way Sage is set up. But we're only interested in grant funds requested from state, okay? So after that's done, you click save, you go to forms, and you come down to consultants. So remember, the grant is $10,000. So you have a balance of $1,500. So I'm just going to say that, if you don't have any consultants, then you could just leave this page blank. If you have consultants, then you write the description of the consultant, the services to be provided. Why are you charging the consultant? Why are you charging the grant what you're charging the grant for, right? This is a justification box. And then the total cost. So let's say, for example, I'm just going to write grant writer, right? And then over here, I'm going to write, write 5 grants, right? And then you're going to say that the total cost for that is $500. And then you're charging the grant $500. And so the total cost is $500, you're charging the grant $500. That leaves you with $1,000, right? So let's go up here and say save, click save. What's going on here? Oh, yeah, good one, Sage. So I got to answer, do consulting services demonstrate a true employer-employee relation, true employer-non-employee relationship? Yes, meaning that an employee cannot be a consultant. That's what that means. All right, everything is saved, and then you hover over forms and you come down to other cost categories. So you got like $1,000 left out of this grant if you're going to use the 85 max on personnel, right? You don't have to. So you got $1,000 left. Let's say you want to purchase some equipment, one laptop at $500. It's $500. So you're going to say the actual cost is 500 and you're going to charge a grant 500. And then let's say you want to get consumable supplies, office supplies. You don't have to lay out, 10 boxes of that, 4 boxes of this, 10 packs of pens. We don't we consumable supplies, we identify consumable supplies as office supplies, not food, right? If you're not going to use travel for travel, space for space rental, equipment for equipment rentals, and consumable supplies for office supplies, any other line item other than these 4 have to be other, all right? And let's say it's $250. The total cost is $250. You're charging the grant $250. All right. So now let's say you want to provide, some snacks. After snacks, right? Just say further list below snacks, and then you want to write snacks, snacks and water or drinks. If you've got working with kids or adults and it's in the evening, they might be hungry. And so the actual cost is $250. You're going to charge a grant $250. All right. So that's your $10,000. You come up to the top and you click save. All right, so that's all there. Everything is good. You go to forms and then you come down to overall budget. And the only thing we want you to do here is click save. Clicking save on this page populates all the other numbers onto this form, and it should equal out to $10,000 on the bottom under grant funds requested. Let's see if that comes out correctly. Yep, grant funds requested. This is that personnel piece that we're not really too concerned where that money comes from. It's just saying that, you know, you're paying the person $8,500. The actual cost is $10,714. So say assume that the $2,214 is coming from somewhere else. Then you hover over forms and you go to required appendices. So when you come to required appendices, it's going to ask you for the board resolution, the readiness assessment, and the IRS 990. So I'm going to browse. So what you want to do is on your laptop or your flash drive, you got to go get it, right? So you got to click that, click browse, and it takes a minute. And this is a problem with Sage, right? It's just, it could be very temperamental. Let me see. Oh, here we go. Okay, you can't see this, but I'm looking for my documents. Hold on for a second. So I'm doing what you're going to be doing. Where did I put this? What are they talking about now? Why do I have to do this? Right? I'm sounding a lot like you guys, right? I said, where in the world did I put this? All right. So let me, okay, here we go. Here we go. So I found it. I'm going to upload it. And then I found another one. I got to do another one. I got to do the readiness assessment. It's just real temperamental. So you got to click browse and you got to wait. It pops up. Then you select and you open and you insert it and you do the third one. All right, this one was a little fast. You selected, you inserted, and then you scroll. After you uploaded the board resolution, the readiness assessment, and the IRS 990, you scroll up to the top and you click save. All right, and so now that everything is submitted, you'll see that when you scroll over, when you hover over forms, that there aren't any error indicators, meaning there isn't a yellow or orange hand or a red hand saying stop, you messed up in this section, you got to go fix it. After you see all that, you hover over status change, and under application submitted, you want to click apply status. And then you want to click, you get to the agreement page. Are you sure you want to submit your application? You click I agree. And then you're brought out to the application page, and you'll see that the current status is application submitted, and you are done in submitting your Project Atlas application. Now, if you have any questions, again, right, we're going to have a series of webinars, Q&As. You got to go to our website to look at those dates. They're in March. And, you know, have a good day. Bye-bye.